What is up, you guys? Welcome to DevLife. My name's Taylor, and today I want to talk about how you can handle daily tasks that you have to do as an employee and programming. A lot of people are fully aware of the concept that programming is something that you need to have long, uninterrupted sequences of time in order to really do well. And there's actually a bunch of cool graphics you can look up online on this phenomenon. But an interruption really sets back a programmer more than anyone else, because as a programmer, you have to have a lot of stuff stored in your temporal memory. You have to understand all the different components that are going to be working together, how they're going to be working together, and it's really a lot of, I call it mental gymnastics, where you're holding all these different things in different parts of your brain, and you have to, keep holding them in your brain in short-term memory because you need to have all that information relevant. So when you get an interruption or someone says, hey, can you take a look at this? You get an email pop up, ping, bing, bing. It's really hard for developers to get back on track. There's actually a bunch of graphs you can look up online, and you can see it's amazing how much more productivity you can get with 2 uninterrupted hours versus even 4 or 5 hours of getting interrupted every 20 minutes. And that's something that's really crazy to look at, but it's also something that stuck with me throughout my career. So how do you do that? How do you manage handling daily tasks and handling programming? How do you do them both well? Because you obviously can't just be a heads down programmer and ignore requests from your boss, like if they send you an email and it's something that you need to reply to, or if you get tickets in Trello and they come in and you worked on something all day that you weren't really supposed to because you should have switched tasks, but you didn't really pay attention. So how do you do that, and how do you keep track of that? And for me, really, it comes down to being organized. So a lot of things at my job have to happen by the end of the day, but they don't necessarily have to happen at any particular time, right? They don't have to happen by 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, but just before I'm done for the day, even if that's, completely after hours, some things have to get done every day. And so what I'll do generally is I have a programming task that I would like to get done that day. And this is something internally, right? Like this is like I'm making progress on a new platform, and in my own little schedule, I'm like, oh, I think I can get this, and this done today. And so that's what I try and set out to do. And what I like to do is I like to block out the morning to do that. I like to really focus and try and do everything that I can in the morning to get that done. And that's for morning for me is 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I just really focus on doing that. And I don't check my email. I don't really pay attention to Slack or Skype or any of those other types of communication methods that people use. I just really try and be heads down for 4 hours in the morning. Then after that, I'll check my emails. I'll check Clubhouse or Asana or Trello or whatever you use to track tickets. Check in there to see if there's anything that's come up, like a bug, a bug that's relevant or a bug that's important and that kind of thing. And really, we have it set up so that if I don't reply to a boss and there's something that's truly wrong, like say an issue with a production server, right? They'll actually call me or they'll text me, so I will see that information. But beyond that, I pretty much block out all forms of communication and just kind of go dark for the first 4 hours of the day. Then at lunch, I do a little inventory. I check my emails, that kind of thing, see if there's anything that is a high priority. If I'm lucky and there's not, I will continue working heads down from about, depending on if I'm going to skip lunch or not, I'll either work 12 to 2 or 1 to 3. So I'll do another 2 hours of really heads down focus. And really that's when I call it a day for that development for that day as far as new development goes. And then I try and focus on the last 2 hours of the day with heads down, I call it, but it's really the opposite, right? It's really paying attention, asking people if they need anything done, making sure that you get tickets cleaned up and marked as complete or as finished or as whatever they need to be, handling emails, replying to clients, all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people's jobs are a lot different. Some people need to reply to things in the morning, and you might have to do the exact reverse of this, right? The first 2 hours of the morning, you might want to do emails and kind of handle all that kind of stuff and then go dark for the rest of the afternoon. But personally, what I've found is that most business type people work that way. Most business people that you'll be interacting with, like managers and that type of thing, they generally do that. They handle emails and they kind of organize themselves for the day, and then they basically do their job the rest of the day, as in, asking you to do things, asking for things to get done, asking, what's the status of this, what's the status of that kind of thing. And so really those just kind of don't line up as a programmer versus like a manager versus and like a CEO or something like that. Like someone who doesn't actually program might have a completely different schedule than you. And so really what happens is, as a programmer, if you don't have a system and you don't explain that to your boss, what can happen is you do not a lot of work, because you start working, you get interrupted, and then during the time that you have allotted to do those types of things, nothing's really happening. And so I think that really the key to the whole process is just to pick a strategy that works for you and let everyone in your entire company kind of know what your strategy is, so that they can plan accordingly and that they can make sure that they give you tasks at the appropriate time and don't bombard you with things when you shouldn't really be bombarded. And I think it's worked incredibly well. Sometimes the only downside to my current strategy is sometimes there is a lot of those little things that need to get done in a day, and sometimes it takes me more than 2 hours and I end up working a little late. But for me personally, it's well worth it, because otherwise I don't get any of the stuff done that I want to get done. And so I kind of have to balance whether I want to get something done now or later, and I find it much easier to do those little tasks here and there, or on the weekend, or after hours if I have to, because they take me 15 minutes and that's not a huge deal, versus if I do that in the other way and I end up not getting enough forward progress in programming and a deadline comes up, I have to then spend a few solid days blocked out on the weekends or after hours to get that done, and that's a lot suckier, and that sucks a lot more. So that's my opinion on the subject. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How do you guys structure your day? How do you organize it? Are you guys pretty similar to me? Are you similar to more of a manager or business type? Let me know. If you guys also just want to chat, we have a Discord server where you can communicate directly with me and Josh. And yeah, let me know. Anyways, later.